Check Podcasts. Hi, I'm Bruce Williams. I'm the CEO of the Greater Victoria Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to Chamber Chats, coming to you, as always, from the podcasting studios here at the Czech Media Group. I would like to begin, as always, by acknowledging that I live and work in the land of the Lekwungen-speaking nations, known to us today as Songhees and Cossapsen. And all of this is made possible by the support of Island Savings, a division of First West Credit Union, who are redefining what banking can do for people, for community, and for the planet. I've been looking forward to this podcast for a long time. I think those of you that know me know I love dogs, I love cats, I love horses, I love cattle, I love animals in general. There's just something about them. They're so endearing in their own way. We want to talk today specifically, though, about dogs, because there's a couple of organizations we're going to speak with who, you know, when you see groups of dogs on the street sometimes and you wonder, how do you be a part of that big organization? These people operate organizations that deal with dogs in groups so that you can carry on with your work life and that the dogs can socialize with each other. One is a company called Woofability. And Tim Land is with us for that. I didn't realize how funny that name sounds. Woofability. Tim Land, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks very much for being here. The other one is something called Low Key Dog Walks, and that's Rochelle Briscoe. And Rochelle, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so Rochelle, when you meet somebody for the first time, how do you explain to them what is Low Key Dog Walks?
We are a neighborhood-based dog walking company based in Victoria, BC, specializing in private and small group dog walks. And then I always explain to folks that we only take up to 4 dogs at a time in our groups. And we do on and off leash walks depending on a variety of factors. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. And the name Low Key, you mentioned to me before we started today. It's not that it's a low key operation, but your dog's name is Loki.
Well, yeah, and we are low key, so it's
Yeah.
kind of a layered name. But yeah, it did come from my personal dog named Loki, Loki, and I named it after her. But we are also very low key in the sense that my goal is to keep stress very low and quality very high.
Great. Tim, Woofability is a whole other different model with what you do. So again, you meet somebody for the first time. How do you explain Woofability to them?
Basically, we do enrichment programs for dogs. We're not the traditional large group play, if you like, and we have a variety of activities scheduled for the dogs during the day, and that's what we do. And we help build the well-rounded dog through the activities that we have for them throughout the day.
Yeah. So what started this, Tim? What was the inspiration for you to get this company rolling?
It was our own personal dog. She was a blue tick coonhound, and it was 9 years ago. We did a bit of research, so we knew what we were taking on, and we always like a challenge, so we went for it. And through personal experience, because of how she was becoming and forming, we decided to set up a daycare and boarding facility, and she kind of showed us the way, and the rest is history, so to speak. She gave us a lot of lessons, and we built upon that.
Yeah, and you're more than just a doggy daycare. We're going to talk about all the stuff that you do. But Rochelle, the same thing to you. You pivoted from another career into doing this. Tell me about that.
Oh gosh, well that's a loaded question. But yeah, before COVID, I worked in high level sports management. I was actually living overseas, based in East Africa, and that's again quite a long story. But when I came to Canada and specifically Victoria, I was definitely looking for a change. And then, of course, in light of COVID and everything, kind of a lot of people questioning what they want to do and what difference they want to make and having a purpose and whatnot. And I just started walking dogs and it just grew from there.
So when we take a look at the dogs that you're taking care of, we all know that dogs have personalities as well as people. We could talk all day long about the dogs, which we're going to kind of do. But Rochelle, tell me this. Who are the people behind the dogs? Who are the people that are bringing their dogs to you?
You mean like our clients?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I mean, over the last few years, I mean, we've essentially been in operation since 2021, so we're still fairly new in that sense, just a couple of years. Our client base has evolved as things have kind of ebbed and flowed, but I'd say in general, working professionals, a variety of careers. We walk for lawyers, doctors, dentists, teachers, you name it. We've got lots of shift workers we work for, nurses. doctors. So it's quite a rewarding feeling to be able to, offer a service that cares for their dogs in a way where they don't have to stress or worry about, their pup at home and they can go out and do the work they do.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
Woofability, Tim, tell me about that. Who are your clients? Who are the dog companions that you work with?
Pretty much the same. I mean, we
Yeah.
we got quite a wide spectrum of clients, hitting all the areas that Rochelle was on about there. It's serving the community in all aspects, the whole spectrum.
Yeah, and Tim, you work with service dogs too, correct? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, we as well as the daycare and boarding side, we also have Woofability service dog training where we train dogs to become service dogs for their handlers.
And what kind of skills are involved in that for the dogs?
Lot,
Like, what do the dogs learn to do, basically?
yeah. I mean, the dogs learn to be medical alert dogs. They can retrieve the medication for people. They can alert the owners that they're potentially having a seizure or that their salt levels are low or that their heart rate is increased, and they can do what they call orbit, which is create a personal bubble around people who don't like people coming into their space. So if the dog feels that people are getting too close, then they will create a orbit around the person.
Like, that's fascinating to me. Like, how can that intuition, if you will, or that feeling be recognized and then brought out in a dog?
A lot of them have it naturally, especially from an owner training point of view. The bond is already there. In a lot of cases, even from a personal level, you'll find your dog is alerting you to things, but it's not perceived as an alert because you don't recognize it as that way. Your dog might be, you might be stressed and your dog might come over and just rest its head on your lap and you're just thinking, oh, that's lovely, the dog wants to be petted, and not really linking the two together, but the dog's actually clued in and dialed in that something's changed within you.
Yeah, that's very again, love dogs for so many reasons. And Rochelle, you do something called fear-free certification, rather fear-free certification. What's that?
Yeah. So again, that kind of is linked to my personal journey, starting out as I started walking, really staying true to what felt right to me in terms of uh, ethics and humane treatment of animals and people in the world. And so when I started creating a business, of course, getting my license and insurance and everything, I was really seeking something that I could sort of brand, if you will, myself as, an ethical, humane company. And I was able to find it's called Fear Free Pets. It is unfortunately an American corporation,
Hmm.
but they do, of course, have businesses like ours in Canada, who have been certified, and they also certify trainers, groomers, and veterinary practices. And the whole mission is to, equip us with the skills to work with pets in a way that reduces stress, anxiety, and fear.
If you are watching this right now and you're listening right now and you have a dog at home, you might want to get the dog to come and join us because next we're going to talk about how to talk fluent dog. Today on Chamber Chats, we're talking about people that have organizations and companies that take care of our friends, our four-legged furry friends, he said smoothly. Woofability is a company that Tim Land operates, and Low Key Dog Walks is Rochelle Briscoe. So, Tim, tell me about speaking fluent dog.
Yeah. What would you like to know about speaking fluent dog?
So, how do you, is it just tone? Is it intonation in our voices? Is it the cadence of our voice? What is it that we do that dogs can understand?
Uh, I wouldn't say it's one specific thing. The key to it is body language and energy. For sure, for us to understand them, it's about watching their body language,
Mhm.
and they operate in a contextual. They're very contextual animals, so their communication is what's happening there and then. So that's why you can misinterpret what's being said by some dogs sometimes. But energy, they feed off of us. If you're super upset, then they know something's wrong. If you're stressed, they become stressed. They don't know why they're stressed, but they become stressed. And the more dogs there are, the more dogs become stressed. And yeah, yeah, it becomes a tricky situation when that starts to happen.
Yeah, but Rochelle, that kind of communication is part of the bonding, right? I mean, the dogs do probably get to understand our nature and our voices and what we mean and what we're trying to say
Mhm.
to them.
Yes. Yes, and, the nature of our service is, because we're Fear Free certified, meaning, our everything we do is very intentional. We work with a lot of dogs that have a challenging history or past, not exclusively rescue dogs, but quite a few dogs that are rescued, so they have, various backgrounds. Dogs that are fairly anxious, nervous, reactive, and a variety of behavior challenges. So for us, like Tim was saying, a big thing is body language, recognizing what they're telling us, seeing those stress signs that they give us, which we learn about in the Fear Free course. Things like, are their ears flat? Are they licking their lips? Are their eyes squinted? Is their tail down? And it depends on the type of dog and the breed. Some dogs have pointy ears, some dogs have floppy ears. So it kind of depends. And like you said as well, the context. So, where and when and who and the weather. And there's so many different factors. So it's really, and I'm always learning personally as well in my team, ways that we can improve understanding what they're trying to communicate to us. The biggest thing for us too is we really prioritize giving them autonomy or giving them choice. So being fear free or force free, meaning that we like to give them choice and give them options to consent to various things like putting on their harness. A lot of dogs are quite scared of that, putting something over their head. So, working with them so that they're offering to put their head forward and kind of be a part of that dressing up kind of process. So sometimes it takes a bit of time and building that relationship.
But they would understand that putting on the harness means they're going to walk. So that's,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tim, when you get them all together, tell me what kind of group activities happen with the dogs at Woofability. What sort of things do you do with them?
We do balance beams, weave poles, tunnels. During the summer, they have their own pool that they can splash around in. We have sprinklers that they can play around with, smaller water pools. We have ball games. We have boundary work, gate work. We have a whole variety of activities for them to participate in that they cycle through during the day.
So, when you put those groups together, are they done by size or by breed or by age, or how do you manage that?
I would say predominantly by size, um, but that's not discounting that some of the dogs that are best friends, some of them are really small, and their best mate is really big. So yeah, it varies from dog to dog, especially with regards to personality and how they are, and we try to group them in their friends.
Yeah, I think as we all know, a lot of small dogs don't realize that they're small dogs. So they just act accordingly, right? So Rochelle, same thing. Tell me about the group activities that happen with your organization.
Yeah. So because, our groups are very small, like I said, up to 4 dogs at a time. I spend personally many hours building these compatible groups. And if you can imagine, it's quite a big puzzle that I piece together all the groups. And there's a variety of factors that goes into it. Because again, we're a dog walking service. So it's days of the week, time blocks, location in the city, and then, age, breed, temperament. Uh, some of our dogs are still intact, meaning they haven't been spayed or neutered. So sometimes that's a factor. Injuries, variety of things. So then I piece it together and we do quite a few what's called parallel walks when we're introducing dogs. So myself and then another employee will each have a dog and then we kind of introduce the dogs one at a time that way. And we kind of build slowly our groups, starting off with pairs and then adding a third and moving up to 4.
So yeah, same question to you that I said of Tim. Do you then group them by breed, by age, by size? What's the dynamic that works best there?
Yeah, again, it's kind of similar to what Tim was saying. It's a variety of things. It's usually energy level, age, temperament, location. We focus on neighborhood based, region based walks, meaning that I try to keep our group walks between 3 to 5 minutes of one another, like each of their friends. That way our walkers aren't driving across the city with dogs in the vehicles. So trying to be a bit more efficient that way. So, for the most part, the littles walk together, the medium dogs are together, maybe 1 or 2 large dogs together. But again, yeah, there could be, a large dog and then a little chihuahua that are good buddies and they're neighbors and it's compatible and it works. So kind
Something
of, case by case.
very important thing to talk about as well. We're going to do that next. We're going to talk about puppies. We're talking today about organizations that deal with dogs. They're dog walking, basically, but they're actually more like, I'm going to say dog socializing is what these organizations do. Woofability, the guy that does that, is Tim Land, and Rochelle Briscoe is here from something called Low Key Dog Walks. So when you get a puppy in, Rochelle, how do you manage a puppy different than an adult dog? I don't mean that to be overly obvious, but what kind of things do you do?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, like in our FAQ, we have a couple of questions about puppies, and typically we don't, personally, we don't walk with, if you will, dogs that are younger than 6 months. But we do like a 30-minute private service where we'll just visit a drop in, and we'll play with them in the yard, more like an enrichment visit, if you will. Maybe we'll work a little bit on some leash walking in the yard and maybe, up and down the sidewalk. But physically they're pretty floppy and pretty distracted and it's not like you're getting very far. But our biggest thing is always making sure, medically they've got their vaccinations before we're introducing them to other dogs. So it kind of just depends, but we don't have a ton of pups.
Tim, same kind of question to you, but when you're dealing with a puppy, those are the really formative years of that animal's life. The dog will grow up to be the grown-up dog that it was as a puppy, as it will. So you must talk with the dog owners at some time about that stuff too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to pick up on what Rochelle was saying, it's about letting the dogs, especially from a puppy age, letting them explore, letting them investigate, letting them, kind of have a free rein to a certain extent, but in shorter bursts.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we speak to the owners and we match our service to as much as we can to what the owners are looking for, basically.
And Tim, I would think a lot of people are pretty happy that when they come and pick up their animal, their friend, their companion from you, they're pretty tired because you kind of put them through the routine all day long, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we don't focus on so much. We don't focus on just the physical activity. That's the whole point behind the enrichment. We get them using their brains, get them thinking, get them learning. And that's what I meant earlier on when I was talking about the well balanced. It's an even balance. So when they go home, they are tired, but they're not completely flat out tired and non existent for their owner.
Yeah, because the owners probably want to go for a walk when they get home too, so the dog wants to go
Right.
with them, right? Rochelle, there's a term called the hierarchy of dog needs. Tell me about that.
Mhm. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I had the right information, so I took a few notes about that.
Sure.
But it's a person called Linda Michaels that came up with that, and it's a concept that stresses, gentle care, rewards, and choice in caring for dogs, which is kind of what I've been touching on already. And the concept that meeting their biological needs, making sure that they're feeling safe and they belong in some kind of social group, will lead to less abnormal behavior, if you will. So that's a really brief overview. And again, we're not trainers as a company, and we could go down a different rabbit hole there, but it's really about meeting their basic needs, physical, mental, and emotional.
Yeah.
Mm.
I shared years of my life with a dog who had particular dietary needs because unfortunately he was a rescue dog, got him from the SPCA, but very early in his life he had a very bad diet. He wasn't fed very well, so he had digestive issues because of that. So Tim, when you get dogs through to your place, there may be issues like that, but in general, how do you feed a pack of dogs? Like how can you do that so that it doesn't become a feeding frenzy?
Yeah, I mean, to dispel the myth that we just turn up with a bag of food and pour it on the floor and let the dogs have at it, but that doesn't happen.
No.
No, no, every dog is separated, and they are given their lunch if they come with lunch, and we usually give them about 30 to 40 minutes to after they've eaten to kind of let their lunch settle. And when they come out, we make sure they're not in a high activity, again, to help the food settle.
I'm going to use this term with all respect. You're sort of babysitting them in a way, right? I mean, you're nurturing them as you would a child.
Yeah, I mean, to all intents purposes, they are someone's child. They are part of the family, and that's how we treat them, and we look after them and we give them the best experience we can give them.
Yeah, well, people want to know that their pets are being well taken care of. That's for sure. Okay, here is the basic average. I knew you were going to ask this question, Rochelle, and I'll start with you. What's the best part about your job and doing what you do?
Oh, man. Uh, okay, 2 things.
Okay.
One is, meet and greets, like meeting new clients, going to their home, having that first touch with a brand new dog and a brand new, pair of guardians or whatever the case may be. I love that. I love answering questions and meeting them where they're at, and also normalizing that it's okay to have a challenging dog or to have a dog that can't go out with a big group of dogs on a forest trail. Just normalizing that for them, I love. And then I also love, seeing dogs progress. If, say, there's a goal that they have to work from a group, or sorry, a private walk to a group, or a private walk even to a pair, and to get them to that point. And like I said earlier, doing those parallel walks and seeing them build a friend, and it's just so rewarding and so fun. So I'd say those 2 things.
Yeah. Tim, best part for you?
I think the best part for me is allowing yourself to open up to their world and letting them show you their world and the teachings that come with it. There's a lot of life lessons that they teach.
Well, the spirits that must surround you all the time with these dogs and their personalities must be so rewarding. I mean, for your heart, makes your heart feel good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it is soul touching. It's great to be around them. It's great to be with them, and it's great to be part of their life.
Yeah. Do you think, Tim, this could ever happen with cats?
Yeah, I do. I do. There are some places that exist that run similar sort of establishments for cats. I think I can imagine it's a bit more trickier.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that dogs can't be. But yeah, I think cats lead a different life to dogs. They are clearly very different species.
Yeah. Oh, they really are. Yeah. Rochelle, what do you think about that? The prospect of doing this with cats?
No.
No, not going to happen.
Just straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, no, we do have a number of clients with cats in their homes. So when we pick up pups, and indoor, outdoor, or indoor only cats, and oftentimes they're sitting on the back of the couch, just kind of judging us as
Oh, yeah.
we're picking up the pup. I'm personally don't have a ton of experience with cats, but no, we're a dog walking company for sure.
Yeah, dogs have companions, cats have servants, is the way that
Yeah,
somebody
for
once
sure.
put that. Yeah, but I've had a life full of dogs and cats and love them all. Thank
Yeah.
you both for what you do. It's been great to hear your stories. We really appreciate it. And we're going to make sure that people know where to find you guys. You can check them out through the Chamber website. Rochelle Briscoe has Low Key Dog Walks. And thank you for being with us, Rochelle.
Hmm.
And Tim Land is with Woofability. Great name, and both of you great companies. Tim, thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much.
You bet. I'm Bruce Williams. We'll see you again for another Chamber Chat.